Okay, John is not here, we wait for him. Okay, we were talking yesterday about problems of development, really. So the main problems the countries face when they will develop their economic structure, they want to rise the living standards. Anyone can remember any of the problems countries face when they want to have a better, they want to increase the development, they want to being developed economically, or they want to increase their life quality in general as even as possible in an equal way. Problems facing?
Higher level of population.
Okay, that's one. Another one?
Higher level of international debt.
Exactly, because they have to pay the debt first.
Unbalanced economies.
Sorry? Unbalanced economies, okay, that's a problem also. The size of the primary sector, okay, also. So if we rely a lot on exports of the primary sector, so it means our internal structure is not competitive abroad. So we basically export primary products who are not very well paid, and they experience a tendency to lower level prices. What else?
Trade restriction.
Okay, trade restrictions, how it works that? So if you put trade restrictions either to export products, or if you put trade restrictions like fees in order to import, is discourage entrepreneurs to invest money to create to own a business, because they know they have to pay all the time. So if every time I have to export to China, I have to pay an extra fee, or the government told me the maximum amount of goods that I can export to China is X, so then it will really discourage me in order to export, and it makes it will be less competitive with my products, less attractive, and they will be more expensive in China. So it's gonna be a way for me. So the government trying to control the external sector is not always the best answer in order to improve economically the country, because it's just to slow down the economic activity and makes more difficult to make money out of it. So now we say the problems, but how we resolve those problems. All these the problems we have in the countries in order to improve the economic structure, the life quality as well, education, healthcare. So the measures to promote development comes how? And it comes to one key question when we want to promote economically the country. When we will develop, who is going to be the responsible to develop economically a country or increase the life standard? Should be the government, where it will be more a paternalist attitude through development, more socialist maybe, where you assign to the government a special and crucial, essential role in order to promote economic growth. So it should take a big part on it. The government intervention. So we want the state to intervene in the economy or not, and in which extent. And if it's the opposite, we want just the market forces to do their job and try to push people or incentivize people to invest. So what do you think is the answer, guys? Do you think economic development comes from the government, or it comes from the government trying to reduce their participation, their intervention in the economic affairs, or increasing the size? What do you think? Any opinion?
Government.
You say government? Okay. Who says the opposite? Government. So the government is the one which is going to be responsible for economic growth, right? And how the government can implement measures to, like, do you have an idea how the government could make it better in order to increase the economic growth, the life standards in a country? How the government could do such thing? How would they do?
Higher expenditure.
Higher expenditure, okay. But expenditure can be army expenditure, to buy more tanks and to buy helicopters. Just
More welfare.
Okay. And would this money come from? From the government? Okay, and who pays the taxes?
People.
Okay, so maybe you have to accept an increase in your taxes in order to pay that. The thing is, you have no control in where your money goes. When you select your president every 4 or 5 years. That's it's not direct democracy as used to be understood by the ancient Greeks. It's partitive, or it's just an illusion of democracy, I like to say, where you just give your vote every 4 years, but once you give your votes, you don't do anything. You don't decide anything. It's the president, according to constitution and bureaucrats in the parliament, who decide. So every state has a budget. You decide how much money of your tax will be for education, how much will be for sanity, how much will be for roads. You have no election on that. So yeah, maybe government should have that role, but just should. It doesn't. The government will do that job. Some government they invest a huge amount of money. For example, in army, 50% of their budget, and not too much in education. And they neither help the industry, they neither make easy for people to open business, or they don't invest in education for young people. And then you have responsible government. They say, we accept to have a socialist country based in social, based in solidarity of the state, based in the principles of French Revolution, liberal. The state takes this role, but takes it responsibly. And I say, okay, we tax people, we take the money of the people, we have to be careful with that. We have to know where we're going to invest. You don't take the money of the people and you invest for things people they don't agree with. That will get a responsible government. If you have a responsible government, they will take your money and they will do to create schools, or maybe to give you some more kind of loan, or I would say scholarship. You have good grades. They help your family. Your mother is a single mother. That will be a responsible way to spend people money by taxes. But sometimes it's not like that. I always say sometimes, as Milton Friedman used to say, very famous economist, there is nobody else better than yourself to manage your money. So if you go to give money to the government in the form of taxes, you have very low, very scarce control of what the government will do with your money. If the government say, okay, no participation, we leave the individuals to take care of their own money, we low down the taxes, you don't pay no taxes, then you will manage your money better, wisely. So they say that's efficient in an economic model. So it's, okay, the government, but what you stay? What about when a government tells you what to produce, what to consume? That's then, it's a line, a red line, There's to some extent, the participation of the state or the intervention of the state can be detrimental for the economy. Because the size of the government is limited, and it could become an inefficient obstacle in order to manage the economic life in a country. So let's go with some measures we can take. The government can't just be like a supervisor of the economy, let's say, just trying to make sure things go well, and maybe help as well. But one of the measures when we're here is like import substitution. So we're gonna see the measures to promote development. Okay, we have a few of them. We have 4 of them. The 4th one is the most important. We're gonna go deeper. Is foreign aid. But we go with the first way, that the state can help people to have a better life, to achieve economic development. And that will be import substitution. Okay? Import substitution. So how we can... Yeah, what does it mean import substitution? So we have a country which is extremely dependent on imports. Okay, we take a low developed country, which is based in agriculture, minery, and fish, but they don't have manufactured products. They don't build cars, they don't build cars, they don't build houses. The chemical industry is also backward, and it's not quite developed. The infrastructure is economy based in primary sector, okay, agriculture. He has to import everything from abroad. When you go to the supermarket, you need to buy Kit Kat. Kit Kat doesn't come from the country, it comes from abroad. You buy Coke, it comes from abroad. You buy a hamburger, it comes from abroad. You buy a furniture, you buy your clothes, come from India. So the country does not produce anything. It buys from outside, which is going to create a negative result in the trade balance, because we have to import everything and we don't export enough. So the country said, okay, we have to develop, like we have to create our own products. How he is going to do that? Import substitution. What does it mean, import substitution? We substitute imports. We try to reduce the amount of imports. But if we want to reduce the amount of imports, where we are going to get the products from? If it's not from outside, by importation. From where? Shopping. If we don't get the products abroad by imports, how we get our products? Guys, I want attention, huh? I'm going to make questions, all of you. So if you cannot import, you know what that import mean? You buy from outside. If you don't buy from outside, how you replace that? Any idea, guys?
Make it.
Exactly, you make yourself. But how is gonna make yourself? If you want to create a new energy drink, okay? And you go to 7-Eleven and you have Red Bull, another, I don't know, there is like 3 or 4 different energy drinks, I don't know the names. You want to open an energy drink, you want to create your own energy drink and create a company with a new name, you know, energy drink, call it as you want. But if you have already energy drinks in the market, when they are like being 20 years, they are able to do this drink, they have much more experience, they have a big infrastructure, big factories, many people working, and they are able to produce competitively. They can do a drink and sell it for 10 bahts. Now you want to do the same, you want to open the factory, you have to invest a lot of money, even though because you have not experience, it will take you a lot of time to produce the same drink, it will be the same quality, and it will be more expensive. So there is no way for you to survive. When my drink, Ramon's energy drink, Ramon, go to the supermarket, nobody will buy it. Because they will have Red Bull and all different ones that they know already for many. So you cannot enter the market. Because wherever you want to enter, there is already products. I'm from China. China wants to create a new phone. But we have already phones, iPhone, we have from Korea, we have from Japan, and they are good and cheap. So if China try to do something new, they have no experience, and this is a hypothetical case, it's not a real case, right? But if you want to enter in a new trade, in a new market, and you have no experience, you risk a lot, you may be unsuccessful and you may fail. So the government, how they can help people in the country to create their own products? Import substitution. So import substitution is basically a protection, that's the word, protection of new domestic industries.
Teacher,
Yes?
I from the
Against foreign competition. Against foreign competition. Now, guys, how the government is going to protect the national products from foreigners' products? How the government? Again, I repeat the question. How, and I will ask any of you, how the government can protect my products from foreigner products or foreign companies? So, okay, I will make it easier question. I want to sell Chinese cars. I'm in China, I'm Chinese. I'm going to train my company. I sell Chinese cars made in China. How the Chinese government is going to protect me as a Chinese, from cars coming from Germany, Korea, Japan, who are very good, and the price is okay? How the government is going to make that? Good, very well, John. Protection is taxation. So if a Japanese car comes by the border in China, we put it 50%. We say maximum amount of cars to be imported from China, from Korea, or from Japan, or from Germany is a certain amount per year. There is no possibility for more cars come in. So then, the people which is in the country, if they want to buy a Mercedes, instead of buying for 20,000 euros, okay, they have to pay 70,000 euros, 80,000. So people don't buy Mercedes, they will buy the Chinese car. Why here the products in your countries, guys? Mercedes is super expensive here in Asia. Mercedes, any product coming from BMW, Mercedes, what other ones, Volkswagen, all these cars are very expensive. Not because they are expensive. In Europe they cost 15, 20,000 euros, or 15 or 10. But here it costs 3 times more. Because when they come to, if you are a Thai person, you want to buy a car from Europe, the government make you pay a lot of taxes. So then the government which is trying to incentivize is people to buy national cars. So how we force people or try to, not force, maybe that's not the word, but incentivize people or encourage people to buy national products by putting taxes on foreign products. And we make more attractive national products and less attractive foreign products. Do you understand the concept, guys? So the goal here will be, guys, good idea if you copy this, okay? Good idea, but I don't see anybody copy it. So the effects of protection or import protection, sorry, no import protection. The effects of protection of the national industry or the national sector will result in allowing national industries to grow. But this is not a natural science, it's not maths, it's not 2 + 2 is 4. We are talking about social science. So there are risks. Because the behavior of people sometimes is unprognosticated. So we have allowed national industries to grow. So we pay, and then the goal, the last goal is imports replacements. Imports replacements means instead of imports, we buy it from our country. Instead of buying Kit Kat or Coke, we buy a drink made in Thailand, which is similar. Instead of buying Chinese cars, the government will try to create strong companies from Thailand. So we create our own cars. But with this a risky side of it. If you overprotect the national industry, sometimes doesn't make people to become entrepreneurs. It has the opposite side. How can I explain this? Okay, because look, in the risks of that is in the short term, it will be a reduction of quality, increase of price, okay, maybe the GDP will go down. Okay, all of a sudden a country introduce protection measures in their trade sector. So everything coming from outside, which is good, we will tax it. So the people have to pay 3 times more. So all of a sudden you find all the products you have at your disposal, you have it that they're expensive. You want to buy a car, it's very expensive. You want to buy good things, it's very expensive. So then the bad side of this is you're going to have a higher in price, a reduction of quality. And there's not many products available. So it's poverty at the beginning. Then the people will react. So the government expects that someone, the private sector, what is so funny guys? The government will react. What does it mean that the government will react? Okay, forget the scheme. Don't repeat. Because if the cost of this is that you don't pay attention to me. Just do yourself at your home, okay? Do your own one. The thing is, in the short term, the quality goes down. You all of a sudden have no national product because there is no industry. Thailand has no industry, just tourism. And then the only thing that you get from abroad in Thailand, which is phones, computers, tables, electricity, and everything, you put a tax on it if it's come from a foreign country. But the main industry, that everything comes from a foreign country. 80% of products you buy, and then they are expensive. And you do this because you expect the government, that national people, Thai people, they will create their own company. If it happens, this is okay. The country will go up. Because they say, okay, this is the government, we have entrepreneurs. They say, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm Ramon. I want to open a factory of, I don't know, textile. I want to create suits, okay? Suits, very cheap price. But then I say, but dude, I cannot do it. I cannot confection in my own clothes because I have Bangladesh right next to here. I have Malaysia who makes suits for 3 times cheaper than me. So nobody's going to buy my suits. Nobody's going to buy my products in Thailand. So the government will say, don't worry, we are gonna try to help Thai people, Thai government, and great Thai companies to become powerful. I say, what we are going to make is we make harder for those abroad to sell in Thailand. So we are going to put taxes if it comes from India, it comes from Malaysia, it comes from South Korea. So in the meantime, because these products are so expensive, you can do your own product. And even if it's not very good and the quality is not bad because we are just starting, still you will be in a better position than your competition. Because all of a sudden, a phone which is 800 euros will cost 1,600. A car which costs like 10,000 euros will cost you 30,000. So you have to be very bad to don't do something which is the same quality and cheaper. So you try to help entrepreneurs in your own country to become strong, to create their own factory. If the government doesn't do that, they cannot even enter the market because already you have very good products there and very cheap. And nobody will buy your product and in 3 months you are bankrupt. Do you understand, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So there are risks. In short term, reduction of quality, price, and GDP. And one important one is it could be, this is very important, but if this happened in Spain, for example. That's why it never developed economically, or Italy. Because the Spanish government put very strong protection measures. So everything coming from abroad will put taxation. And then you expect that the Spanish economy is going to grow up and people will have chances to create their own business and survive. But then the Spanish people, they have no incentive to improve their quality. Because even if you do very bad, still you're going to be better off. Because foreigners who try to sell in Spain, they have no chance. They have no choice. Their products in Spain are super expensive. So then the Spanish entrepreneur, he relaxes. I don't care if my product is not good, if it's very expensive, if it's not competitive. Because even though I know the government will put taxes in my competition, and they always buy from me. Then all of a sudden, what happens in Spain in 1986 enters the European Union. You know what happened when Spain entered the European Union? No protection. No protection. So all of a sudden, Spain, it comes olive oil from Italy, cars from Germany, to very cheap price. All products from abroad, they can enter Spain with no taxes. So all of a sudden, we have a lot of foreigner products in the supermarket in Spain who are much better quality than Spanish products and cheaper because they do better than us. So they destroy 70% of the industrial surface in Spain. So the middleman was cut off. Many companies were bankrupt in Spain because they were not able for this. When the government say no taxes, all products coming from abroad, they take in the Spanish market. So Spanish people start to buy not anymore cars from Spain, but cars from Germany or from France. They didn't buy phones, they buy phones from Finland. Or computers coming from any country, European Union. And they were cheaper. Spanish companies that they were not strong, they disappeared. And it was 70% of them. Because they were no incentive to improve before. Before they were very comfortable. Okay, and also because there is no incentive to increase productivity, what happens when there is no productivity? Every product I make is more expensive. So the benefit margin is very low. And it means the workers are poor. So that happened in Spain until the 70s. We have a few companies producing everything in Spain. They were not efficient, they were not good, and they have no danger of disappearing because the Spanish government protect them from abroad. When Spanish government do like this, okay, France come, Italy come, Germany come. Spanish companies, they were not ready. And all companies, they were not good, they were bankrupt. So it was very bad at the beginning, but in the long run good because they stayed just good. Companies were productive and it allowed to increase the productivity of the good companies. Higher productivity normally will result in a higher GDP, and that will be better life quality, better salary for workers, in theory. So that's the first one, import substitution. Now we're going to see the contrary. Second, market exposure. Okay, well, it happened in Spain in 70s. Happened in many other countries, not just Spain. You have a protected market where the people pay taxes. Foreign products come into the country and they're expensive. And people, they are not competitive. The production doesn't rise up. Productivity is not good. So the country gets stagnation, economic stagnation. Doesn't go up, doesn't go better. All of a sudden, governments say, wait, we want to change this reality. And we want to create better products. And we want companies to be productive. And then they open the borders. And they allow all foreigners. This is market exposure. Exposition to the market. You allow the national products to fight against the foreign products. So you don't protect Spanish people anymore. Like, I don't know how to say it. Let's put in taxation. You just say, okay, guys, you can come, and the better you do, the better one wins. I don't care if it's Spanish, or if it's French, or Italian. So then many Spanish companies disappeared because they were not productive enough. They were fighting with companies abroad and were used to competition. That's market exposure, and that's a shock therapy. So what happened? It's the opposite idea. So market exposure is the opposite to import substitution. Import substitution, you protect national country, making foreigner countries paying taxes, foreign companies. The opposite is market exposure. It's liberal, free market, government doesn't intervene. I say you open a company, and I'm not going to protect you if the video games coming from China, or the computers, or the VHAs, or any product coming from abroad is better than yours, and you are not able to compete, your company will go bankrupt. I'm not going to put in taxes on them to make their products more expensive, then you can sell yours. No. They are going to come to products in my country, and it will be as cheap as they can, as they want, the price they want. So they have to fight. And who is the survivor? In Spain, 70% of industry went down but it was not efficient economically. So the opposite idea is no government, support to national sector or national industry or national economy, okay? No government role. The products coming to the country, they are free, no taxation. Or very low. The goal of this, so the goal before, it was to create, when we protect or we subsidize imports, the government tried to replace imports by national products in the previous point, in the number one. So the government wants to create Spanish companies, or they want to have powerful structure industry, okay? They want to help national economy to be powerful economically. That's why they protect them. But when they protect too much, then it's like when you have children. When you protect them too much, after they go to the war and they are very sensitive, they are afraid, and they are very weak. So this is the same with the national industry. You just protect Spanish industry from foreigners 20 years. And then the national industry in Spain was not productive, bad salaries, corruption, they were not efficient, and it was resulting in a big, higher level of prices for primary products. It was not efficient. Now, we open the markets, governments say, okay, go ahead, just you take care of yourself. And then they find themselves that they are not good, productive enough, and then they disappear, they go bankrupt. And then just the strongest economies survive. The strongest economies because they produce better than you, better quality, cheaper price, and better logistics, basically. And people, that's why they buy their products. The goal is that. So the goal is going to be increasing competition. So firms are forced to compete. There are risks as well. There is problems. Firms may not become efficient. National firms. And they are not able to compete. So when the government, okay, this is how I do, this is my opinion, okay, it's not in a book. If you have a country, like it's based in agriculture, it's not developed economically enough, okay? And then this country is open to the world. So you have a tiny island with no many resources, no human capital are all very developed yet, doesn't have resources, no human capital, and then you import everything. So when you go supermarket or you buy something in your country, 90% of them, they are not from the country, they come from abroad. How will you do that? Maybe I will try to put taxation in those industries that I know my country will be, I have hope on it. So if I see that my country has a very good soil, I will try to put in taxation, okay, in products who compete with my soil. So maybe in agriculture products, primary products. So I will say oranges, tomatoes, cucumbers, everything comes from the land, from the soil, I will tax it. So that's, I help the people, the villagers, or entrepreneurs to invest in national agriculture, and then I let them few years to develop their infrastructure. I let them to relax. Forget now about the competition. The competition, we're going to tax them, so their price will be super expensive. And now you have 4 or 10 years to invest in agriculture and become good at it. Once that the infrastructure and the industrial sector is quite developed, then you drop the taxation and then you put it to compete with other countries. But if it's not mature, that's the word, mature. You know mature? Like not developed, not old enough, mature. You know the word mature? Yeah. Yes. But you know, guys. Mature is when you become old and you have experience. So you have to allow the economy or some industry to become mature, to grow up, to become powerful. And then you protect from foreigners. But first you have to protect, then it's never grow up. It's like children. When you have a child, you say, okay, I leave you on the street with 2 years old. Become strong, survive. Just make yourself. Don't be. I'm not going to support you always. Don't rely on me. You have to survive. And then the child, no, probably the child will die. So then when you first give the good education, you give him a house, a good education, love. You feed him, and when he's strong, he's intelligent, and he's grown up. Then you say, now go to the world. You are not in mama's house anymore. Now you have to find a job and you have to do it yourself. The same theory applies to economics. Maybe it's very simplistic, but it makes it's quite rational. So you have a national, you have to develop your infrastructure, then you have to protect this infrastructure from foreigners who are already powerful. So you put taxation, make it difficult for foreigners, and at the same time, you pay attention to your national industry. You give help to entrepreneurs, to young people, education. And after 10 years, when you have your industry, and the country has already the first cars, they have factories, even the cars are so expensive, and they become good, then, okay, then you put it to compete. The thing why Spanish companies, 70% disappear in 70s, is because they were not able to compete against foreign investors, foreign companies, German companies. They were much better. They were doing for many years. They were open to the world, so they were already quite mature, and they know how to produce. They were good at it. And then you go to the Spanish economy, who has been 30 years or 20 years closed. You know, with no, they were just closed. Because if the Spanish people want to buy a car, they have no choice, just buying Spanish cars. Now the government say, no, you can buy from everywhere in the world. So they say, good, buy Spanish cars, I will buy German ones. All the countries. The next one. What time is it?
1:30.
Okay, very fast. Third will be market forces expressor. Sorry, sorry again. Okay, the third one will be improve. That's quite evident, right? Improve education, infrastructures means roads, streets, sidewalks, buildings, all that. Then capital, human capital especially, stock, education, training, blah, 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 blah. So you have to improve healthcare, education. The government, who does this? Two ways. Again, the question, the government or private investors? How? If the government wants to improve this, will be by government expenditure. You remember the government expenditure? So it just takes money from you taxpayers, and this money we will increase in education. We create schools, we create new hospitals. That's one. The other one is say we do nothing because taxpayers, they pay a high tax already. We don't want to increase tax because in order to pay schools, they are not for free, guys. You pay with your taxes. So then the government say no. Instead of that, we don't increase taxes. We let companies to come in. When there is companies, what happens? When we allow companies to come in, what happens? The companies, they are not going to give you education. They are not going to give you infrastructures. They are not going to say, hey, let's build a road here. But what they do is they give you jobs. And if you have jobs, the government can take taxes from the incomes coming from your jobs. And with their income, he can try to distribute the money. And the companies many times are good because education, when you are a company, you learn an activity. You learn a job. If now Spain opens the borders or Italy and allows foreign companies to come, we use high technology from South Korea. Then the South Korean companies come to Spain and they teach us how to make cars. We learn from them. And 10 years later, we are independent. We can do our own cars. But if we don't allow it, so it's by companies. So we're going to leave it here in the point 3. So first of all, either we substitute imports by national products, or second, we do the opposite. We don't protect the imports. Sorry, we don't protect the national industry, willing that the national industry will able to compete and be better and make a big effort to become productive. If we fail in that, and the national industry cannot compete with foreigners, then it's bad for the country. Doesn't develop. It develops, but depending on foreigners who can take the factories after 10 years and go to other country which is cheaper. That's what happened in Spain. 60% of the industry disappeared. Spanish companies were not good. We have cars companies, we have Ford, we have many of them. Then now in 90s, they are closing in Spain and they go to China. Right? You want national industry to become powerful. And you want government to give benefits or help companies to remain in the country by giving benefits of unification, enable to avoid these companies go to more profitable country. Okay, somehow. Either you go to bonifications. If you don't give bonifications, at least you don't make it difficult for them to stay in the country. If you tax a lot of the companies and you say you have to do this, you have to do that, the companies will flee. You have to find an equilibrium. But also you have to give chances to the countries to increase economically for new investors, new people creating companies. So that's all for today. We continue in the point 3, improve education, how governments do that. Who does it? The government? Who does it? The privates? Who doesn't do the companies? You guys, how we improve that? We see the different ways, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Rama.
Thank you.